All right, so I'm going to start off with my X/Twitter post, which is a square resolution. Before I go into that, I just want to show you that I have a folder with various media in here in order for me to you're going to need basically the images and stuff for what you are going to put in there. So I have the Cecil logo here, which I'm going to use. I have a variety of images here. I took this one here, which you will see here, and you can see I didn't want this girl in it, and I kind of wanted just her, so I made some edits, and I brought it into Photoshop. I removed her. I fixed this, so I put like the screen here, because if you look, you can see, oh no, maybe it's not, I'm sorry, it's not this one. It was, which one is it? This one. So you can see she actually gets cut into it, so she's quite a bit in there, but I wanted her actually working on it. So I cut her out, and I just basically replaced this, did some editing. I faded this out because what I'm going to do is have her on the left and then have like my text mostly on the right, and then blurred out the background and faded out, did some like saturation and things like that, just so that I would have a nice thing to work from. But I do want to make a point that obviously we are having our I made a Photoshop document that made all the adjustments. So depending on what you're using, what you're planning on using for your images, you might have to make some adjustments inside of Photoshop in order to use inside of your InDesign document. Okay, that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and bring in my elements. So before I do that, I double clicked. I'm on this one here. I have layers, so I'm just going to call this one, and we'll call this images. All right. Let's make another one. I'm actually going to drag that one below this one, and we'll just call this background color so that I know what that is. And then let's do another one, and we will call this text. All right, so we'll have these basic ideas. Actually, you know what? Let's rename this one solids. I think that actually makes the most sense. We'll call it solids. All right, so what I'm going to do is actually do my solids first. I think that'll be a little bit easier. So I want to do a yellow background for this. One of the things that I also did, just as an example, this is a sort of ad that I would get where it gives me a headline. So the headline is going to be make your own games. The copy, which is basically the text that goes underneath of that, just says, game design, and then the graphic, attach the pic, which I showed those. And then it wants me to include the Cecil College and Own Your Future strapline, and then also include the address and phone as well, so that, people can know what to do. And then it has some other directions here. Basically, it says to keep the color scheme. Okay, so that's what I'm going to try and do. So what we'll do is we'll make the background yellow because it's a nice light color. It'll be a little bit easier on the eyes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my solids. I'm going to go ahead, and what we're going to do is you'll notice that when I hover over here, you see that little arrow pops up? That means it's going to snap to that corner. So I'm going to click, I'm going to drag, and make sure you are also on your solids layer. If I expand this, you can see now we have the square. Okay, it's still selected. What I'm going to do is go to properties, and I need to change the stroke and fill. So for stroke, I actually don't want any stroke, so we're going to choose no stroke. For fill, I want to use the yellow that's currently on the website. That's what it refers to. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the website here. We're going to move this out of the way, and I'm just going to type in cecil.edu. And you can see the website right here. And let me see, I'm trying to look for where the yellow is. Right here. Here's the yellow right there. So I'm just going to sample from that. All I have to do, this is kind of nice, I'm just going to leave it right here. I'm going to go here. I'm going to click on the fill. And I'm just going to grab the last one, we'll say, right? And we're going to hit this little plus, which is going to create another swatch right here. I'm going to double click on the actual color part. That's going to bring this up, all right? Now, we're not going to use CMYK because we're not doing print. We're instead going to be using RGB because this is going to be for digital output. It's going to be viewed on the screen in an emissive display. So I can try to adjust these here, which is one way of doing it, but it's going to be a little bit difficult to match. So instead what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, we're going to do this with this, okay? So I can see this here. We're going to double click on this again. Make sure we're back to RGB. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to click and hold, sorry. And you'll notice is it samples, like even the icons, even outside of it. I'm going to sample this yellow. There we go. And then we'll hit OK. Now, what's nice about this is you're going to see is it actually has, it actually keeps it here. So if I make something else, I can always just click on this and keep it the same, which is nice for consistency across multiple pages. All right. So that's good. We got that solid. That looks fine. What I would like to do, I'm going to take this square and we're just going to click to lock it, and we're going to make, oh, actually, I don't want to make a new layer. So we're going to stay on that one, and we'll just go with that for now. That's actually fine. So we're going to go with that. That looks good. And then I wanted to put Cecil College down here in the bottom, so that I have that to show as well. So I'm going to swap these out. So it's going to do a black color. Let's click on this. And once again, I want to use a green. So I'm actually going to do this just because the logo I have. So I'm going to go to images and I'm going to import the logo. Let's just lock this so I don't accidentally put it in here. I'm going to import the logo. So let's just do file, place, and I'm going to go, so you can see I have Cecil logo cut out green, Cecil logo cut out white, Cecil logo green and white. All right, so I just want to use this to sample from. I also have this one here. I'm going to use this as a guide. So actually, let's go ahead and grab that, and we'll just put it right here. Okay, I'm not actually going to use it. I'm just going to go to the select tool and put it up here. And then I literally just brought it in so I can sample the color. So I'm going to click off of that. I'm going to lock that now. I'm going to unlock back to my solids layer, select the solids layer, and I'm going to go back to this. I'm going to click on the, double click on that. And then I'm going to click on this, click and drag, and I'm just going to grab this green. So now I'll hit OK. And now I have that green color, and I can use that to draw down here. I'm just going to wait till it turns into an arrow, and we'll just do a rough amount. So I'm thinking something like that. That looks to me acceptable. Okay, good. All right, let's go ahead, and I'm going to say that's good for my solids right now. I'm going to lock that one back up. I like to just lock things as I'm going. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the logo because I don't find that particularly helpful right at the moment. And inside the images, I'm going to go ahead and start bringing in my pictures. So I'm just going to do File, and we'll do Place. And I'm going to grab my Photoshop document. Now, one of the things I want you to note is that obviously, because this is an Adobe product, I can actually bring in natively Adobe Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator and probably other file formats that, or other apps. I'm not sure what the other ones would be that we would have in here, but those other ones as well. So this is a Photoshop document. I can bring it right in, and I can click, and here it is, right? And it reads it just like it would be if it was its own file. I'm going to take this. I need to make it bigger, so I'm going to hold Control and Shift. That way it does both the window as well as keep it proportionate. And I'm just going to scale it until it's roughly the right size, like so. Okay. And then we'll just drag this over like that. And that looks pretty okay with me. So now I have a little bit of room. It might be nice maybe to have it kind of, maybe I'm going to cut this off. I'm just going to click and drag this way. I'm not holding Shift and clicking. I'm just going to crop that image so that I have a little bit more room to work with over here. And I'm just going to click and drag this over this way just because it makes me feel better. All right, good. So now we have our picture in there. We have that in there. That looks good. I'm going to take the Wacom photo. I'm just going to go ahead and lock it just so I don't run into any issues. And I'm going to click back on the images layer. We're going to go ahead and let's place the logo. So I'm actually going to place the white logo so that I can put that in here. So we'll just go File. We'll do Place. And I'm going to do not the green one. I'm going to do the white one. Open. And I will just click in here, and voila, there's the logo. But I want it down here, so I'm going to hold Control and Shift and just shrink it first. I'm going to bring it down here. I'm going to hold Spacebar, just like you would inside of Photoshop. Go down like that. We'll go over here. All right, and all right, you'll notice too that it does a lot of these lines to kind of help you center, to help you align your elements. Okay, so we have that there. Now what I want to do is I need to put Cecil College, but I want to do it the same as the logo. So if you remember before, I have the logo right here. I'm going to use that as actually a guide in order to place it. So we're going to go, and I'm going to unlock. Oh, no, not that one. Sorry. Is this it? Not that one. This is it. Okay, I'm going to take this. I'm going to bring that into the top. Then what we're going to do, actually, we're going to, we'll bring it to the, no, we're going to put it underneath here. I want it below the logo. So then I'm going to take it, I'm going to bring it down here. And then we're just going to go ahead, Control and Shift, and try and make it, maybe even just put it here just as a starting point. Control and Shift. I'm going to take that logo, and we're just going to go ahead and put that roughly in here. I'm just going to Control plus plus plus. And let's just Control and Shift. I'm just going to try and make it roughly the same size. So that way I know, right? You can kind of Close enough. I'd be a little more exact about it, but I think in this case it isn't going to be that big of a deal. All right. So now I need to write Cecil College, Own Your Future. Obviously, if you're working with a client, they would tell you what their typeface is. In this case, I don't really know what theirs is. It's obviously a sans serif font, and it's very kind of block style. So what I'm going to do is underneath the text, I'm just going to go ahead and lock images. I'm going to underneath the text here, I'm going to draw a text box, and what we're going to do is we're going to draw one for the top section here. And I'm okay. Good. There's properties. It didn't pop up yet. Let's just up this to, let's say 30. I don't know what size I need. I'm going to choose the fill. We're going to go down, and you can see that that green color is not currently in there. So I'm going to select this one, and let's just add a new swatch. That way we can use it later on and make things a little bit easier. I'm going to double click on this, click and drag, and just go to that green. And that way that's in there, and that'll be a little bit easier. Okay. So we'll start with that. And then I already looked up a bunch of typefaces. So you could do a whole bunch of them here. But this one is more or less this. It looks pretty similar to the Sego one, although that one's not really the one I was hoping for. I'm going to scroll down and see if I can find a better version of it. Let's see. UI historic symbol. We'll go with that one. Okay. And then I'm just going to write Cecil College. And I'm going to hit Control A because it's a little bit too big. So let's go ahead and let's try 18. And let's try 24. And that's too big. Let's go back to 18. We're going to go like this. I'm going to pull this up so I can see it here. I'm going to grab this whole thing, and let's see if we can do bold. It does not have bold. I think the other one did, though. So let's do, where are you? There. And I believe this one did have bold. Yeah, see, that one's got bold. Bold is better. You can see, though, it's not. Okay, so these are all caps. So I'm going to, we're going to do this. With this selected, you can see there is an option to, where are you? Right here, all caps. And that will just convert them to all caps by using that. So once again, we'll take that and let's shrink that down a little bit more. Okay. What I'm going to do now is I just want to make this box the same size as that. So I'm going to double click on this, which will shrink it to that. We're going to bring it down here. I'm going to try and line it up as best I can. I'm going to hold Control and Shift. And we're going to scale it till we're a little bit closer to that other one. That's pretty close. You can see it's not exactly 100% accurate, but it's not too awful bad. So I'm going to take that. We'll put this down here. Let's try to use the arrow keys, and not perfect, but pretty close. I'm going to hold Alt, click and drag to go to the one below it. And then with this one, you can see, actually, let's go even below that just so I can see in comparison. So you can see this one doesn't use all caps, so we'll turn that off. And then also, this is not bold. If anything, it might be light. Maybe not quite light. Is there semi-light? What's regular look like? I would say it's about regular. All right, and we'll just go ahead and we'll do own your, it's pretty close, future. All right, so not too bad. I'm going to take that now. We'll put it up here. It's a little bit off as far as the size is concerned. I'm going to Control plus. It'll give me more fidelity theoretically. Okay, so we'll say that that's pretty close. I'm going to Control minus, and then what we're going to do is I'm just going to change both these colors. So I'm going to select this, Control A. So I have it selected. We're going to go here, and we're just going to go ahead and make it white or paper. We're going to go to this one, Control A, or Command A if you're on a Mac, and we will once again make this one paper. And what I'm going to do is go to the Select tool, select this, and select this. And we'll just, okay, let's try it again. Select this, and this is locked. That's why I can't grab it. Okay, then select this. And we're going to bring it down here, Control minus, and we'll go over here. And it feels a little bit tight on these ends. So I'm going to go ahead and I don't want to make this any smaller. So I'm just going to hold Control and Shift, and we're going to make that smaller. I'm going to hold Alt, Control, and Shift. So when you hold Alt, it does it from the center, just so you know. Like if I hold Control and Shift, see how it's like sticking to this? If I hold Alt, Control, and Shift, it'll scale from the center of it, which is kind of what I wanted. So it's not 100% accurate to that, but I feel like it's It's a little closer. Okay. So, and I feel like these could actually be a little bit bigger. So I'm going to hold Alt, Control, and Shift. Here I was trying to make it like this, and then I just end up completely throwing that out. Okay, so we'll say that's good. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the logo now because I only had that on there for that purpose. And I feel pretty good about what we have going on here. And just to make things a little bit easier, I'm actually going to take these and make these a group. So that way, they'll stick together. So I have them both selected. We're going to go to Object and we're going to say Group. And now whenever I grab it, it's all part of the same group. We'll leave it inside of text. That's fine. I went to the text one. You could also put underneath images, but I think text makes the most sense because it's a vector graphic anyhow. So that looks pretty good. All right, so we got the logo in there. The next thing to do is to place our text in there. So if I look at my little cheat sheet here, it says make your own video games. That's what we were looking to do, right? So I'm just going to copy that because I'm lazy. I'm going to go up here to the text tool, and I'm just going to draw this up and make it big. And we're going to put that up here. So I'm just going to go ahead and paste it. There it is. And we will make some font choices. Okay, so you want to do your best to make something that is visually interesting. So this is the headline. So this should be the most fun font of all the fonts that you are going to make. So you can see it doesn't quite fit in there. So I'm just going to drag this over. I want this big and glorious. But it should be more interesting than the font you just saw there. Making videos. Generally speaking, you're probably going to want something that is, we'll just go with this one. It's not the most fun font in the world, but I think it should work. So we'll go with that. It's definitely hugging these two sides a bit much. I'm going to double click on this corner, which will make it stick to that. And then I'm going to hold Control and Shift. And if you look, I have quite a bit of space. I wish this was a little bit bigger, but I don't have enough space for it to go along. So I think what I'm going to do instead is break this up into two pieces. So I'm going to hold Alt, click and drag. I'm going to go here and we'll say make your own, and then I'll put video games on a different line. And I'm going to double click this. I'm going to go to this one, and I'm going to take video games off of this one. Go to here, double click, and then we'll just offset it like so. And then I'm going to kind of compress it like that. I'm going to grab both, Control and Shift, and we'll just make it bigger, right? Because I want this to be a big, this is the headline, right? Okay, so black doesn't initially work. What you want to typically do is you want to try and maintain a color scheme. So our color scheme here is this green and yellow and white. So those are the colors that we can use that I generally want to use in order to create what we have here. This should be my big thing that sticks out. So let's try and do this. We're going to grab this one. Let's go ahead and see if we can do white to start with. Now you're going to see that white's going to be too, click off here. It's going to be too bright for against this white. So I'm going to do is just do an effect, because effects are super cheesy and they always tell you not to do them. But I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. Let's do the offset distance. Here we go. I'm going to take the distance down a little bit, but I think that makes it pop a little bit more, and we'll hit OK. I'm going to do the same thing here. Oh, actually, I could probably just do it right there. Yeah, and then we'll do drop shadow again. Okay, that looks fine. And I just need to make sure that I go ahead and make this also white. Right. Okay, boom. All right, so make your own video games. And then we need to, so that's our headline. We need to make our copy, right? So that basically all the information that's inside. So we also need to do this logo part. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab that. Let's do that part next. I'm just going to go down here, and we will just draw out a square here, or a text box. Control V. Here's the address. Control A. We're going to go ahead and we are going to use that. So another thing that would be, well, we'll put that there, and then I'll get back to the other stuff. So another font, you'll notice that all the fonts that you use the most, the ones that were most recently used, will show up on the top here. I'm just going to go ahead and use this Retroika, which is somewhat similar to this one. I'm going to double click on this. We'll go ahead and select this whole thing. I'm going to click on the fill color, and let's make it white. Go back to the object select, Control and Shift, and I'm just going to scale this bigger. All right, so one of the things that we really need to make sure that we're doing is that we need to, looks like it doesn't have, so I'm going to Control++, So you can see it's like, looks like it's got missing characters, and that's because it does not support, it looks like dashes is my guess. I'm not sure what's in the original, but I'm going to get rid of those. So, okay, so it doesn't really, that's a problem. Weird. Okay, so let's not do that. We'll keep all that. We're going to use a different typeface. So go there and let's just try a different, we'll just go back to this one. And let's also make that black. No, black's too, oops, black is too thick. Come on. We'll do semi-bold. All right, good. Now the other thing I need to do is I want to make sure that I maintain alignment. So if you look, you see this is slightly off of this. So I'm just going to click and drag from here, and that will make a line that I can then subsequently snap to. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take this and I'm going to snap that to here. And then this is roughly at 50. So I'm just going to go ahead and click, and we're going to put one over here roughly at 50. Let's see if we can move this one actually. I want to make that actually at 50, so that way it's just consistent. So we'll snap that one to 50. We'll take this and snap that to 50. Good. And then I'm going to take this guy and snap this one to 50 and also keep it in line with that one. Okay? That's what we want to do. We want to try and maintain symmetry where possible. And just so we can do it, we'll also snap this one to this one side. And now that snap to here, that snap to there, and now they all stay within that bounds. Now we could have done the same thing using margins, but being a little more organic with it. Actually, this, let's double click. Okay, so if you look, it's not actually quite, we want to do it to the text. So I'm just going to move it, not to the box. All right, so that looks good. All right, so the next thing is to do that part of the text, and I'm just going to go here, and I already have it, so I'm just going to grab that, Control C, go back here, do a text box, and I usually just do it all as one big chunk, and then I will probably break it up afterwards. We'll grab that, we're going to change the font, and try to do something that's a little bit better for reading. So let's see, which one of these? Oh, that's why these are, I thought these were ones I already used. I don't like that one. So just like we want to limit our number of colors, right, to 2 or 3, we want to limit the number of typefaces we use to a relatively similar amount. Let's try to see if this one works now. It's pretty similar to what the other ones are. I'm going to take this and actually let's make this color the green, because I don't want it to stand out quite as much as everything else. Let's also take the font size and make it larger. That's a little bit better. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to bring this over and bring this over this way. Okay, so you can see that's hugging that way too much. So we need to have a little bit more of a gap. But I'm going to break this up into basically 3 boxes instead. So right here. So we're going to take this and let's, actually we'll do it this way. I'm going to take this, I'm going to hold Alt, drag it across, hold Alt, drag it across. And what we're going to do is we're going to keep that first section. I'm going to go here and we are going to get rid of the first section. And we're going to get rid of the bottom section. And then this one, we'll get rid of everything but the bottom section. So basically, I'm just breaking it up into those 3 pieces. And I'm just going to double click. Oops, didn't mean to double click inside of that. Double click. Okay, so now I can take these and we can then subsequently make these fit a little bit better. Let's go like this, and we will see. Can we make this maybe go all the way across? Introduction to game design. Oops, not like that. And let's pull this roughly to here, and I just want to make sure. It'd be best to try and keep everything sort of lined up there. Let's use arrow keys. We'll take this. I'm going to extend this out a little bit. We'll pull this one up here. All right, and then let's go ahead and pull this box up just because it's visually annoying. And then we'll go down here and we'll just pull this one straight across and pull this up. All right, so it's not necessarily the nicest looking that I've ever done, but it should mostly work. Let's pull this one up a little bit too. This feels a little bit cramped. I'm going to see if I move this one up. A lot of what you got to do is basically just try to, oops, that's the wrong button. Not this one and this one. Is to just move things around till you find a better position for them. So I want to try and line this. I want to try and use this line as much as possible. And then we'll just go like that. And we'll give that one a little bit more of a gap. Okay. So we'll say something like that. Now we could try to vary this up a little bit. So maybe take this and instead maybe try to do the white. I don't know if that's going to read or not. No, it's too hard to see. So we will leave it green. I would definitely play around with this a whole lot more than what you're seeing here, but we got a rough kind of ad that shows off the various aspects, and we have a nice square kind of template. In the next video, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take more or less what we have here and paste it for the other elements. I'm trying to see if there's anything else in here I needed to add. No. So what we'll do is we will just save this as... we'll just call this one 02. Okay. All right. And in the next video we'll do is we'll just basically kind of basically copy and paste everything we have here onto the other pages.